Right. So our microcontrollers have Bluetooth capabilities. It's essentially what this little thing, right? This little silver shiny box on top is. This is the antenna. And it uses a kind of Bluetooth called BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy. This is the newest form of the Bluetooth specification that you'll find. You'll find it in your phones, in your computers, in wearable devices like watches or uh, you know fitness trackers, things like that. And so I want to talk first about how these things work with one another. Devices are either called central devices or peripherals. And a peripheral offers something that a central device can receive. So, a fitness tracker is a peripheral device, and your laptop or your phone is a central device. In this case, your microcontroller, it can actually act as either a peripheral or as a central device. We're going to be doing them only as peripheral devices in these examples. But peripheral devices have services. So here, well, actually, first, you can see your peripheral device connected to a central device, a simple sort of thing, right? So the way that this works is you've got your peripheral device has a profile, right? And then it offers services, and then those services have characteristics, which then and those characteristics then have a value attached to them. So, we might have an accelerometer service that has three characteristics, X, Y, and Z, and then your X, Y, and Z each has its own values. Same sort of thing, you could have controller service, right? And that could be a potentiometer and a button. Each potentiometer would be a characteristic and a button would be a characteristic. Each characteristic can it can change, it can be dynamic, and the connection between a central device and a peripheral allows for reading, writing, and then also subscribing to those values that are changing. You can assign a characteristic to either read, write, or as a subscription service. And we'll talk about the differences of those in just a little bit. But the way that these devices are all identified is they've got a unique name, which is a really long 128-bit number. This is called a universally unique identifier, or UUID. Now, there are standardized ones that are short. If you wanted to, you could go look those up. And those are for like battery level or HID device. So for like a game controller or something like that. But since what we're doing is we're creating our own, we need to generate our own UUIDs. And so there's this website, UUID generator, that will just create new ones for you. And these are unique. You aren't going to run into the issue of somebody else bumping up into yours. It's pretty straightforward. So the way that these work, so there's a Bluetooth LE library both for the Arduino and for P5JS. On the peripheral side, right? So on the Arduino side for us, what we need to do is we need to set the service name. We need to say these are the services that we're advertising. We then add characteristics to those services, and then we start advertising the values from those characteristics. On the central side, what we do is we scan for peripherals. We connect to a particular one. We ask for what services they have. We ask for what characteristics they have, and then we read, write, or subscribe to those characteristics. The Arduino page itself has, or the Arduino site has a reference page with all the information for the library. It has these nice sort of little diagrams with funny stick figures, and gets into sort of like the specifics around all these different things, right? So The library can be downloaded through the library manager, and you can poke around and see what all these different functions do when we get into the into actually writing code for it in the next couple of videos. The p5ble.js library is a separate website. Now, you don't have to download this unless you're like developing locally, but even then, if you wanted to, you could, you could just use, you could connect to it from a CDN. And so this is the library that we'll be importing into our P5 sketches to actually, control stuff on the peripheral, both to read and to write information. There are a number of applications out there, both for your phone or for your computer, that can show you various BLE services that are out there. In fact, I will open one up right now for you to see. This one that I'm opening up is called Blue Sea, and I'll turn my Bluetooth on, and then we'll give it a second. And if I click on scan, so these are all the different things around here, right? It's quite a bit. This is a camera. This is a camera. These look to be phones. This is actually my microcontroller, unhelpfully called Stuff. We can see some other people's phones and or computers. So these are all the different kinds of things that we can see here. And if I wanted to, I could subscribe to some of these. So let's actually subscribe to this, right? So I can connect to it. This is like the data that's inside of there. There's a whole, like, you can go in and, so here's the service, subscribe to it. And here we can actually see the values that are coming through, right, from this microcontroller. It's not actually set up to make anything visible or useful in this particular example, but just as a way of demonstrating, you can debug and see this information inside of here. And this is actually the UUID of the service and the UUID of the characteristic that I'm updating. Right. So, in any case, in future videos, we will actually be programming the Arduino, programming P5.js, and controlling these devices wirelessly. So come back. It'll be fun.